All right, cool beans. Been a bit, but let's go over how to get like a build in order, mainly for like beginners. Also, for returning players as well. Maybe you stopped in T1, maybe you stopped before T2 drop or middle T2. This is kind of to just teach you the ways of Throne and Liberty. I'm going to be going over a T1 and T2 build. As of recording this video will probably be released like a week right before T3 drops. Yes, T3 is dropping very soon on the 18th of September, I believe. So now I'm wondering, like, why would you release this video right before T3 drops? This is to mainly teach you the fundamentals of Throne and Liberty. It will teach you how to grind gear, how to do open world dungeons, what dungeons are, kind of navigate the UI, and kind of just get you your feel for the game. I'd rather you make your mistakes with T1 gear and kind of learn from that, because you're going to make mistakes in this game. It's going to happen. I made mistakes worth thousands, tens of thousands of Lucent down the drain. If I just knew how to like trade items well, blessing stack, or even know how to lithograph. Like, there's just so much you can like learn from the game. So I'd rather you learn the mistakes with T1 drops, where they're very cheap. They're like 10 Lucent a pop right now. So make your mistakes then. That way, when you start getting T2 gear, you already learned from the mistakes from T1 gear. And especially when T3 drops, you hopefully will have already learned from all your mistakes. So that is the main reason that I really wanted to make this video. Also to help out players. I mean, it's always nice to help out players. But if you guys do enjoy the video or learn something, please like the video. Also comment down below your thoughts on this, anything I might have missed out, or what other videos you want to see next, or how excited you are for T3. I also want to ask question of the video, or question of the day, whatever you want to call it, is what are you most excited for T3 or the new patches dropping? I'm most excited for BGs to drop. And also saw some of the leaks for T3 weapons, and oh my god, there's just so much to like look after. I need to see what these weapons are and the gear is so I can start theory craft. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so let's go over the build. So we're basically be going in order here. We're going to be going over the gear here. So we're going to be going over Tank build, the Healer build, and a DPS build. These are going to be PvE builds, because if you're trying to PvP with the T1 build, you're going to get absolutely clapped, bro. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can fight other new players as well. That'd be fun, but for the most part, most people are going to be in T2 gear. So this is basically to get you your T2 gear. We're basically also have another section for jewelry, for the accessories. So like necklace, bracelet, rings, and belt. Same thing with earrings. You can't get earrings in T1, so unfortunately. But we'll have a segment towards the end, because for the most part, you're just going to be buying these. And it's going to be the basically almost universal for every build. Maybe for healer, you might build a thunderstorm necklace. But other than that, we'll get that when we get there. So if you are wondering how to get the gear, we're going to be going over the gear first. And then we're going to be going over where to get the gear. Well, let's go over the first one. So basically, the first build is a tank build. This is a Crusader. There are other options you can do. You can do like sword and boards. Sword and board spear, that's steel heart. You can do sword and board and wand. That's a paladin. No, that's a Templar. But for the most part, just stick with the sword and board greatsword. It's basically your best bet. Most people won't kick you out of groups if they see this. Basically, the first weapon we're going for is the Karnix Netherblade. It's a very solid sword and board. It gives you those 10 strength, which is really good to give you some stat points, as well as a bunch of max health. And it's just a vanilla sword and board. Like, it doesn't really do anything else. What I mean by vanilla greatsword, it has no passive. So if I go over to the next weapon, the Duke Provoking's Warblade, this one actually has a passive. On Valiant Brawl hit, it has a 42% chance to apply Weaken Provoke. The Karnix Netherblade does not have anything. So that's what the only problem is. So if you can't get your hands on these, honestly, you could just run the Sword of the Heroic Blade of the Resistance. You can get this from farming the other sides. You're more than likely to get one. So you don't really have to stress about this one. Same thing with the Duke Magnus Provoking Warblade. This is honestly a very solid sword. If you can get your hands on this, you can honestly keep this in T2 and it'd be one of the better ones. So basically 7 strength, very nice. 2k max health, unheard of at the time. As well as the passive. So whenever we do Valiant Brawl, this is like the 3-hit with the basic spammable of Greatsword. Very solid, just a good amount of damage, and it's very quick. It's just a very fluent and good looking skill. So every time you do a tick of damage, there'll be 42% chance to apply Weaken Provoke. This is basically how you hard taunt an enemy. But for the most part, for PvE ads, you have a chance to make sure that they're provoked on you. So if you are doing a dungeon with like people with full T2 gear, you more than likely won't drop aggro too much as long as you provoke them. And so for the gear we are going to be going for is 2-piece Shock Commander. So Shock Commander helmet and Shock Commander boots. This is very solid. The main reason we're going for this is for the 2-piece. Damage reduction 18, basically meaning whenever we take damage, we take 18 less damage. This is more good for rapid fire hits, like, you know, when ads multiple, like when they hit you for low damage but very, very fast. That's what it's really good for. Helmet gives us 5 strength as well as some cooldown. Very nice. Very easy to get this 2-piece. The boots gives us strength, movement speed. Very solid. And they're also pretty easy to get. We're going for what's relatively easy, also going to work for well. Now for the next one we're going to be going for is 3-piece Field General. So for the most part, you only need 2 pieces, because 3 pieces, they don't get anything for them. And you can only have 5 pieces of armor, they get bonuses. So you're only going to have 2 2-pieces or 1 4-piece. And this one we're going 2-2. So the main ones you only need is the legs and the gloves. If you can't get yourself on the plate of the field general, you can just run whatever else you want. But the main reason we want this is because of 2-piece. Melee heavy attack chance 150. So whenever we do melee damage, we have a basically like 10 or 12% depending on how much heavy attack you already have to do double damage. That's what a heavy attack is. In this game, heavy attack is double damage. Crit is when you do your highest possible damage. It's a little different. You would think it's the other way around, but honestly, throwing Liberty, I don't know why they did it like that, but that's what they did it like. So the reason that we mainly want the gloves, 6 perception, almost 5% attack speed, as well as you can put more attack speed and max health. Beautiful. Greaves of the Field General. These were some of the most bloated legs in the game. 3 dex, 4 strength, as well as this gives you over 100 extra melee defense. And for the reason for the chest, for the plate of the field general, the chest of the field general, is that it gives us 3 perception and 4 strength. That's just really good attribute points. Just gives us more points to get more bonuses, get more damage, get more. There's just so much you can do with more points. So for the tank cloak, you can run any cloak. It doesn't really matter what cloak you run. Whatever cloak you get of purple, it's perfectly fine for the tank. You can run the Eldritch Whisperers, or honestly, probably the better bet would be the Supreme Devotion, honestly. Probably your better bet. And like I said, the jewelry we'll have towards the end of how to get the jewelry. So let's go over where you get the weapons. So the Karnak's Netherblade actually does drop from the 1-star Death's Abyss right here. So whenever you beat the final boss, you have a chance to loot the chest and get this. You have like a 5% chance, I want to say. Yeah, 5% chance to get the sword and board. So whenever you do 1-star dungeons, you can by default open them 3 times. If you have Da Vinci's Favor, you can actually open them 4 times. Well, that's really good. So if you do Death's Abyss, it might be worthwhile to open all the chests there. Now for the other one, it's going to be in Butcher's Canyon. You have a 5% chance of getting it there. So now if we go over to the other set, so now let's go over the helmet. So the helmet actually drops from Burkhan Estate. If you see this at nighttime, do not do open world dungeons on nighttime. You are going to die. There are other players that will kill you if they are in there. During the daytime, it's peace. During the nighttime, it's conflict. Other people outside of your group or your guild can kill you. So if we go here, I think it's the Veiled Blades. No, it's towards the bottom, right? I think it's the Hooded. Yeah, so any of the Hooded. So Hooded Dreadshot has a chance of dropping the Shock Commander helmet, and the Hooded Arbalist has a chance of dropping it as well. So as long as you're able to kill those 2 guys, more than likely we'll drop it. It's kind of hard to come by, to be honest. For the most part, I've gotten this from like the 2nd floor. That's pretty sure I got, but it's kind of a rare drop to begin with. So now for the feet, this is where it actually gets a little tricky. So for the feet, you can either buy them with Lucent or you can get them from Silius Abyss. Silius Abyss is always closed at night, and you can do the 6th floor or the 5th floor. Recommend the 6th floor. And right here, the Steel Call Abominations. This is where they drop the boots. Honestly, you could farm there for 10 minutes solo, and you can get the boots very easily. That's if you have a damage build. If you are building a tank and you have a tank build, it might be a little hard. Honestly, you could just buy them from the auction house. That might be your best bet. Shock Commander. Right here, the boots. You can buy almost any trait for 10 Lucent. You buy a max health for 10 Lucent, and you're all set. Honestly, this probably will be your best bet. So if you are wondering how to get Lucent, I do have a 0 to free to play hero series where I kind of like show you the ins and outs of how to start a new character, how I got my Lucent up, and how I basically was able to basically pay for everything free to play. I was buying battle passes, I was buying my full gear just free to play. So make sure you check that out after this video. And now for the other one. So now we're going to be going over the 3-piece field general. So it's going to be the chest, legs, and hands. So if we go here, Burkhan Estate actually has everything we need, which is like what I love about Burkhan Estate. These are Shrouded Knights. So any of the Shrouded. So Shrouded Knights, they have a chance to drop the Gauntlets of the Field General, as well as the Heroic Blade of the Resistance, the T1 Sword and Board, which honestly, you could probably just keep this up until your T2 gear. As well as the Shrouded Knight Master also has a chance to drop both of those as well. So now if we go to the legs now, those actually drop from the other open world dungeon. That's going to be Temple of Truth. Most people don't farm this one. It can be kind of annoying because it adds like perma-stun you. If we go here, I think it's the Stone Golem Debris. No, which one drops it? Right here. So this golem, is that the only golem that drops it? It might be it. These guys have a chance to drop the Greaves of the Filter. Honestly, they drop pretty commonly. I've gotten so many from here. You can also get the Heroic Broadsword of the Resistance. So you can get the T1, Vanilla Greatsword from here as well. You can also run that until you get the Duke Menace Provoking Warblade. And also the chest piece drops from here. It drops from B1. It's kind of annoying to grind B1, to be honest. But there is a chance. I mean, you could probably spend like 10 minutes to B1 if you know how to get to B1. It's like a tricky little spot, like a maze to get into. I don't even know how to do it. My friend showed me once and I completely forgot how to do it. But here's the chest piece. And like I said earlier, if you do want to see how to get the jewelry, I will have a separate segment for itself at the end of the video. The next one we're going to be going for is the healer. So this is the seeker. So this is going to be longbow and wand. You can go like invocator, maybe wand and like staff, but the main healer one is wand and longbow. just run one long and one both. That way you don't get kicked. Because Invocators, you can heal, but unless you know what you're really doing, it can be kind of tricky. If the group wipes once and you didn't heal them in a boss, they're going to kick you and call you a fake healer because you're not running the standard, healing. So it's just best to run Seeker if you want to be considered a real healer. But let's go over the weapons. So for the weapon is the Carnage Nether Bow. This is the longbow. This is a very good longbow. This does drop from, I believe it's Death's Abyss as well. So Death's Abyss drops his bow, has a chance to drop it. The passive, you have a 9% chance to increase the range of you and your allies around you within 16 meters by 9%. That is actually a very, very powerful passive. Honestly, that could carry very well into T2. I wouldn't mind having this in my group. If like a healer was brand new and this guy, the healer had this on my back, I'm chilling, man. Thank you. Next one is going to be Lucarious Wand. This is a very good one as well. Very stat dense. 7 wisdom, 6 perception, as well as some crit. Very unheard of in T1 days. As well as they get at a jail free card, basically passive every 2 minutes. When your health falls below 20%, you become invisible for 3 seconds with a 2-minute cooldown. This is pretty helpful, especially when you have when you actually pull aggro. Like if you're doing like a dungeon with new people, Tank doesn't really know how to grab aggro too well, or the damage isn't there. It's nice to disappear to kind of like get all the adds away from you. So for this one, we're actually going to be going 4-piece Ascended Guardian, because we're going to be going for the passive. We are going to be going 1-piece Shadow Harvester because we have 1 piece available. So we're going to put Shadow Harvester because it's easy to get and it gives you really good stats. 4 dex, 3 wisdom, which wisdom we really want on a healer. Cooldown, as well as we can put more cooldown on the traits. 10% cooldown for 1 mask on a healer. Yes, please sign me up. And let's go over the main meat and potatoes, Ascended Guardian. So 2-piece, when we have 2 pieces of this, we get 7.5% extra cooldown. That's very nice. As well as the 4-piece, we get 25% extra healing, just flat amount of healing. Passives like these, man, is the reason we don't have them in T2. This thing can really break T2. Things we have something like this in T2 with Sacred Repose, I believe. But the problem with that is it gives you a damage 2-piece, and then it gives you a support for it. It just doesn't make any sense. So for the healer one, for the cloak, before I forget, we're going to be going into Supreme Devotion. Gives us mana regen as well as some extra crit and cooldown. Just very solid cloak. The T1 cloaks weren't the best, to be honest. So once again, let's see how we get this. So we'll go here. Burkana Estate actually is where we get the mask. I mostly got them from the second floor of the hooded. So the hooded Arbalist and the hooded dress shots really dropped the mask. So very nice. As well as I believe they also dropped the Ascended Guardian legs. So we can actually get the Ascended Guardian legs as we're farming the Shadow Harvester mask. And then the chest piece, I believe, drops from the Veiled. Yep, there you go. Veiled Blade. Has the chance to drop the chest piece. I think the Veiled Stalker too. Yep, there we go. So that's already 2 of the pieces that we need. So now the gloves, unfortunately, might be a little bit of a pain. You might have to go out of your way to get these. I mean, you don't have to go the 4-piece if you don't want to, but if you really want to and kind of learn how to do dungeons, you can go here to Ruins of Terrain and go up here to Shadow Crypt. I believe the Dark Wizards are the ones, the Dark Wizards are the ones that have a chance to drop Ascended Guardian, the gloves. So the only issue with this is I don't know if they buff the T1 areas to give you more drop, better chances at purples. Because purples back in T1 dungeons were almost impossible to get. They were very rare. So I don't know if they buffed these or not. You might be there for 10 or 15 minutes maybe. If you don't get it, just don't stress it, man. No one farms this for a reason anymore. You probably try soloing it, but honestly, you probably don't even need a 4-piece. You can just run whatever other hands you get, to be honest. And now for the boots. So normally you could. There's 2 ways you can get it. First way is, so if you want to get them for free, there is a chance to get them from Silius Abyss 6th floor. But I think it's only... What ads drop it? Honestly, I wouldn't even recommend doing this. Honestly, I would probably just buy them. They're worth so cheap. They're so cheap. So if we go here to Ascended, right here, we can buy the boots. We can buy any trade for 10 Lucent right here. Right here, you can literally buy mana regen and call it a day. That's all you really need. So that should pretty much cover it for the healer. Now for the accessories, like I said before, we are going to have a separate section towards the end with all the accessories. But for this one, for the healer one, we're actually going to talk about it quickly. I recommend the Thunderstorm Necklace. You can still go to the Collar Decimation if you want. Thunderstorm Necklace, you can buy them for very cheap. That's why I recommend. The reason is because it gives you cooldown as well as range endurance to make you tankier. And as well as some perception. I mean, why not, right? So we go here. We can go to the auction house. Thunder Necklace, we can buy one for literally 10 Lucent. Even if it's a bad trade, it doesn't really matter. Or a max mana for 18 Lucent. Alright, so now we're going to be going over the DPS. So the main build for the main is every build is going to run 2-piece Shadow Harvester. Very easy to get, and it's a very solid 2-piece. So 2-piece critical damage increases by 14%. So we're going to be going to Shadow Harvester Mask. Like I said earlier, it's very stat dense. 4 dexterity, 3 wisdom. That's 14 extra higher roll as well as 4% cooldown, and we can put more further cooldown on it. And the boots, It gives us 5 perception and 3 strength. This is very stat dense and very easy to get to be honest. And we are going to be going for a solo piece. So our solo piece is going to be Swirling Essence Robe. This is a very good chest piece. 5 dex, 3 wisdom. That's 16 extra high roll, as well as 78 extra heavy attack. Back in the day, this is the only piece of gear in T1 that gave you heavy attack chance, just straight up. You either got it from the weapon traits or you got them from like 2-piece bonuses, i.e. Field General. And for the gloves and legs, we are going to be going 2-piece Phantom Wolf. So basically the gloves, 4 dex, as well as some attack speed. The range evasion doesn't matter. Basically going for the other stats. As well as you can put attack speed and max health on them. And the Phantom Wolf legs is just to round out the 2-piece. The actual legs themselves are kind of bad. Poor perception, that's not really good for DPS. It's alright. Magic evasion, useless. Damage reduction, it could save you a little bit. So this one, honestly, dude, if you don't want to run the legs, you can also just run Greaves of the Field Journal or run any other pair of legs if you don't really care. The extra bonus damage, even if you're a Scorpion, it's not going to make a difference. Things are going to burn so fast because you're more than likely going to have other T2 people, like people with T2 gear or even T3 gear when that comes out, just burning the dungeons for you. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just nice to like kind of learn how to get it. So once again, like I said earlier, if you want to learn how to get the jewelry, we'll have it towards the end. So this is going to be for the range. So now if you want to do like a melee, so like if you're full melee or most of your kit is melee, so like, you know, Gladiator, Greatsword Spear, Ravager, Greatsword Daggers, you're going to be swapping out a few things. If you have any form of magic or ranged damage, more than likely you're just going to want to go the 2-piece Phantom Wolf. But if you are going for like melee damage, you could swap it out and go 2-piece Field General. Be a lot easier to get. So we can go Gauntlets of the Field General, and we can go Greaves of the Field General. And there you go. Gloves of the Field General, 6 perception, a lot of perception, as well as attack speed. And we can put more attack speed and max health on these. Just very good. Perception isn't the best for damage, but when we can get more attack speed, especially for T1, it's just, why not, right? The legs, at the time, this was really good. 3 dex, 4 strength, like, and extra melee defense, just why not? Rounds out our 2-piece bonus. So once again, if you are wondering how to get the jewelry, we'll have that towards the end. So now how do we get the gear? So Shadow Harvester Mask drops from any of the hooded mobs in Burkhan Estate. So the hooded Arbalest and the hooded Dress Shots. And I mostly got these from the second floor. The second floor really likes to drop these masks a lot. There is a chance to get these from the first floor, I believe. And there also is a chance at the basement. It's very rare. It says it doesn't, but I've pulled the mask there before. It might have been bugged, who knows. But if you are trying to get it, just do the second floor. So the hooded Arbalest, chance to drop it. What is the hooded Dread Shot? Right there, boom. Now for the feedies, Shadow Harvester, that actually is going to drop from, right here we have Herbal Village. Down south, to the right a little bit, we have Temple of Truth. And right here is where we can actually get the feat of, right here, so the Mighty Stone Golems. You can also get the Greaves of the Field General here too. So next we're going to be going over is Swirling Essence Robe. So if we go here, I think, who is it that drops it? Is it the Shroudeds? Or is it the Veiled? The Veileds have a chance to drop it. I think the Shrouded too, right? No, it's just the Veiled. So right here, the Veiled Stalkers have a chance to drop the Swirling Essence Robe. So for the most part, I pull these from the second floor. You can pull them from the first floor. I don't think I've ever pulled them in the basement. So if you are trying to farm it, do the second floor, which Shadow Harvester, you're going to be getting it pretty easily. And the good thing is too, is right here, you can also get Gauntlets of the Field General from the Shrouded Knight. So while you're farming that, there's a chance you might get Gauntlets of the Field General. As well as, I guess we'll talk about the Phantom Wolf Gloves. They also drop from the second floor. Who is it that drops it? Right here, Shrouded Knight Master has a chance to drop the Phantom Wolf Gloves. Oh, and then the Shrouded Knight. So any of the Shroudeds also have a chance to drop the gloves. So you can get Gauntlets of the Field General as well as Phantom Wolf Gloves. Whatever you decide to go. So now the reason is, why would you choose one or the other? Well, it might be a little difficult to get your hands on the legs. So the legs of Phantom Wolf actually drop for Soradome Island, T1 Island. It's going to be kind of annoying to farm. I forgot which ad. Is it the fighters? The soldiers have a chance to drop it. As well as you can also get the Gauntlets of the Field General here too, but a bit better off just doing Burkhan. I don't know. Maybe do it for like 10 or 15 minutes. If you pull it, nice. If you don't, just call it a day and just don't worry about the 2-piece bonus, honestly, on this. It's not the end of the world. Just run anything else. So for the weapons, we're just going to go quick fire them. You can kind of see where to get them. The Heroic Polearm, you can actually buy these with the contract coins for like 1,500 contract coins. So if we go here, just go to co-op dungeons and you can just see where they drop. So you can just click on all the dungeons one by one. See right here, that's the best. We can get the Carnage Sorting Board or the Carnage Netherbow. Cursed Wasteland is absolute garbage. You can maybe use the Shakal Spear there, but I don't recommend it. Temple of Slaughter, that's where you get the Rex Chimera Crossbows. Butcher's Canyon, Duke Magnus Provoking Warblade, as well as the Duke Magnus Fury Warblade. Don't get these confused. If you're going tanking, get the Provoking Warblade. If you're going damage, go the Fury Warblade, but it doesn't really matter. If you get one or the other, it does not really matter. But if you're trying to min-max T1 gear, Tyrant's Isle, this is where you get the Toblix staff, really good staff. The Toblix bow is very bad. And Cave of Destruction. This is where we get Licarius daggers and Licarius wand. All right, so now we're gonna be going over the jewelry, or accessories as it's called. So accessories in Throne of Liberty is the necklace, the bracelet. You get with the 2 rings. They have to be different. They cannot be the same rings. And a belt, and as well as earrings, but these are mainly for T2. There are no, as I'm making this video, September 9, 2025, the only earrings is T2 earrings. They're for sure, it's more than definitely going to be T3 earrings. I don't know if T3 comes out. Will they ever add T1 or blue earrings? We'll have to wait and see. More than likely not. But for the most part, this is what we're going to be running. So we're going to be running the Collar Decimation, 6 strength, very nice. Melee evasion, it's whatever. The main reason is because a lot of this is very cheap to get. You can buy all of this for 50 Lucent. Easily. Bracelets of the Primal King, these were some of the best bracelets in the game. 6 perception as well as 13 bonus damage. The Band of Universal Power, this was the best ring in the games. This is a ring you're going to be keeping for a long time. 3 dex, 3 wisdom, 3 perception, 3 strength, and it's for 10 Lucent. Unheard of. This thing used to go for tens of thousands of Lucent at one point. And next is the Etch Alabaster Band. I mean, it's just a very easy ring to get. You get 4 strength as well as some attack speed. Never say no to attack speed. Get your guillotines off faster, get your heals off faster. And the Belt of Bloodlust. 4 strength as well as max health and movement speed, and we can put more max health on it. Just very, very solid, honestly. But now let's see how we go about acquiring these. I've studied these items so meticulously. The first one is Decimation. So right here, I can legitimately buy a max health necklace for 10 Lucent, and there's plenty in the market right now. This is NA East, by the way. Sometimes you can buy a buff duration for like 10 Lucent or skill damage for like 10 or 15. I recommend buying one for 15 Lucent. It's gonna be a while before you get a T2 necklace, probably. Some of the T2 necklaces are kind of buns. You're gonna want to hold off until you get a good T2 necklace. Next one is the Primal King bracelet. We go here, Primal King bracelet. Make sure when you're buying these, by the way, I almost forgot, make sure they have this little gray border on. See how it has this little triangle here in the top, left, bottom, and it just says the name, Bracelet of the Primal King. Do not get the extract. Do not, I repeat, do not get the extract. You can maybe buy the lithograph to craft it yourself, but you can just buy the item straight up for 10 Lucent right here. The only reason you'd buy these is because you would unlock traits. That's a whole different video in itself, but make sure you buy here. By the way, if you want to unlock traits, like let's say right here, 10 Lucent. If I buy this max health bracelet right here, boom, as well as I buy the skill damage with this, boom, and this debuff, and it's the item itself, I can combine them together to unlock the trait. But next is going to be the ring. Let's go over the Universal Power Ring. Right here, this is the best ring in the game. Right here, I can get a mana regen for 10 Lucent. I can get a buff duration for 10 Lucent. And honestly, I'd probably buy this skill damage boost for 14 Lucent, honestly, just to unlock the trait and start feeding some blessing into it. And next is the Etch Alabaster Ring. I can legitimately buy a buff duration for 10 Lucent. You can buy a max health. This is actually pretty cheap. They were going for like 80 Lucent, 60 Lucent just a few days ago. Skill damage boost for 15 Lucent. Honestly, I'd probably buy it straight up, just to unlock the trade on it. And lastly, Belt of Bloodlust. Right here, never did I see the day. Belt of Bloodlust, 10 Lucent, right here. I can unlock all the traits. I can buy the max health, skill damage resist, and debuff duration, all for 10 Lucent each. And there's plenty on the market. So that should be pretty much covered for T1 gear. I hope this does really help out a lot. When we go over the T2 gear, we're not going to be going over how to get it. Go quickly, like, just tell you where to get it. But I'm not going to show you in the map and, like, the mob to drop it. By then, you should already know more of the game, and you should just, like, learn how to see what ads dropping and everything. All right, so now we're going to be going over T2 build. So we're gonna rapid fire these, because if you're doing T2 gear, you probably already know more of the game, and you pretty much know what you're looking for and how to get it. So let's go over it. So basically, for tanking, we're gonna have 2 tanks, because when you have T2 gear, this is when you can actually start building into PvP. You can either go full PvE or PvP for tank. Honestly, you can use a PvP build in PvE. It does not make a difference. Like, you won't notice it. It only really matters for DPS. So if you're a healer and or a tank, it does not matter. You can run your PvP build, to be honest, in PvE. However, you more than likely will not be able to run your PvE build in PvP. So if you are wanting to be more of a bruiser, this is like someone that, like, if you want to actually like get kills and try to kill people, then this is it. A bruiser. If you want to go a full tank, basically where you set up the enemy, you don't do any damage, but you don't take any damage, and you set up the damage for your group, like you pull in 4 people, set them up, they get all blown up by your teammates. That's another one. That's going to be the CC bot. But for the bruiser, let's go for the bruiser one. We're going to be going Immortal Titanic Quake Blade. This is a very, very good greatsword. You're not going to be using the passive really on a Crusader. I mean, actually, if you're going bruiser, you might use it. Basically changes Gaia Crash into like multi-hits right in front of you instead of going all the way across the map. And the last take a damage does extra bonus damage. Like, this thing can actually shred. I've hit someone for like 20k with this thing before. It was it was wild. What makes it really good, 13 strength as well as 180 hit chance as well as some collision chance. Just absolutely beautiful. And for the sorting board, we're going to be going the Bulwark of Invulnerability. This is the best sorting board in the game. If there's only one weapon you can get, make sure you get this weapon. There's no substitute to this. Basically, you have a chance, you can pull up to 4 targets. So if I pull, like, let's say it says Chain Hook additionally attacks 3 enemies in a 5-meter radius around the target. So let's say I go for, Joe Bob number 1, and I try to pull him. Well, Joe Bob number 2, 3, and 4 around him will more than likely also get pulled. And it stacks them very pixel. It pixel stacks them. They're all stacked, they're all rooted, and you can shield charge them off the map, or you can just have them stacked there, devastating smash on top of them, and your teammates just clean them up. So the reason also this Bulwark is really good on top of the passive is 14 perception, more hit chance as well as getting more CC chance, max health as well as skill damage boost 145. The solo dungeons, yeah, you can do up to 3 a week. I'm gonna see how it works with T3 gear. We'll have a video on that, but for the most part, if you want to see what build you can get before T3 comes out, this is a solid build. So for this one, we're actually gonna be going 4-piece Vanguard. So Vanguard helm, chest, legs, and feet. So the 2-piece Vanguard, basically for every 10 perception, we get an extra 45 of each endurance. 45 range, 45 magic, and 45 melee endurance. So basically when we have 80 points, it's 8 times 45, 360 extra endurance of each endurance. That is wild. As well as the 4-piece, while Fortitude is at 50 or above, and I know it says is over 50, technically 50 will count. Main weapon base damage is plus 30. So for the most time, people thought, like right here, if I have my sorting board on my main hand, like if I'm walking around and I have my sorting board in my hand, people thought, oh, that's my main hand, right? That's what I have. It only affects daggers and crossbows. So right here, as you can see, there's 2 damages. So the top damage is actually your main hand damage, and the bottom damage is your offhand damage. So basically, whenever you do a dagger build, you have a chance to offhand, basically doing a double hit of it. So if I use like a brutal incision, that's like the execute of daggers. These daggers have at base a 25% chance that I will hit you with the dagger ability, as well as hit you with a second brutal incision as well. Now, if I were to offhand you, the main hit would actually get empowered by 4-piece Vanguard. The offhand hit will not. So it's basically to counteract that, as well as crossbows, because if they could benefit from that, dude, they would be running amok right now. And for this one, we're actually running 1-piece Eternal Warlords, if we have 1 piece available. So we get 5 perception, amazing, 80 hit chance, as well as over 7% attack speed. As well as we can put more hit chance and more attack speed on these gloves. Something like this. There you go. This is how we run it. And I almost forgot the cloak. I almost forget the cloak. I don't know why. The Cloak of Victorious Energy. Very solid cloak. Gives us max health as well as hit chance. The only other cloak that could compare with it would be the Calantheus Confession. That is the heroic cloak, but I would not get that yet. Let's see how good T3 gear is, because the T3 cloak might be absolutely OP. Obviously, the Cloak of Frozen Expanse is the best one, but that is a Arc Boss cloak, so good luck getting that. For the jewelry, we're going to be going so for these, you don't really need the fortified versions, the ascended versions. So this one, we're going to be going the Fortified Pendant of Divine Tree Roots. If you don't have that, you could just go the Collar of Nature's Wrath. This is the unupgraded version, or the unascended version. We only lose on 1 perception, which could make a difference on this build, but it's not the end of the world, man. It really isn't. For the bracelet, we're going to be going for is the Bangle of the Clearest Night. Also, our friends forgot to mention, these are basically going to be easy to get gear. Jewelry you can get very easily or buy very easily. What makes this bracelet so insane is that it gives us 6 perception, as well as max health and range and magic endurance. As a tanky build, like anything that builds endurance, magic will shred you. So for the most part, you want to try to get as much magic endurance. Now for the ring, we are going to be going for is the Fortified Honor's Promise Signet. This is a very good ring. If you don't have the fortified version, the non-fortified, just Honor's Promise ring, very good. Gives us wisdom and strength. All right. It gives you 113 hit chance, as well as 80 endurance of everything. Just 80 magic, range, and melee endurance. That's really nice. And for the belt, we're going to be going for is the Imbued Heroes Legacy War Belt. If you don't have the Imbued version, obviously, you can just run the regular Heroes Legacy War Belt. 4 dex as well as 6 strength. It's really stat dense. Health region doesn't matter, but we get 5.7% attack speed. That's what basically makes up for it. And for the earrings, so for the most part, there are 2 earrings you can easily get. It's going to be the Regals or the Forlorns. They're very bad to make you to entice you to get the Nebula accessories, unfortunately. It is what it is. So for the most part, we're going to be going for is the Brilliant Regal earrings. This gives us 7 wisdom. Very good on a tank. Gives us more cooldown and more high roll. Mana regen. Can never say no to mana regen. As well as front damage reduction. So if an enemy is hitting us from the front, we take 26 less damage. The only problem is the traits. Back hit, side hit, and back heavy. I mean, if we're a Crusader, we're more than likely not chasing anybody. We're fighting someone head on. We're brawling them. So it's whatever. Like if you go to the good arenas, like if you go to the main good one, the granite arenas, like these things are just straight juice. 5 fortitude, 5 strength, front damage reduction, as well as front endurance. You can put front hit and side hit and front heavy. Like these are the arenas you want, but they're very expensive. So good luck. So now for the CC bot, everything is almost the same. So we are changing the gloves. We're going to be changing the gloves to the Vanguard gloves. And be saying, well, why would we do that? It's because every piece of Vanguard gives us more fortitude. We're easily able to break over 60 fortitude with this. And the only other thing we're changing out is the belt. So normally we did have the Hero's Legacy belt, but on this one we're going to be running the Cunning Ogre belt. You can either run the fortified version or you can run the base version. It does not matter. It's basically the same. I think all you do is lose out on... What do you lose out? You lose out on 1 wisdom, which isn't the end of the world. The Greatsword to the Grey Eye. You can still run the Quake Blade if you want, but the Grey Eye is just very good. It's that passive. Basically, whenever you use Da Vinci's Courage, you give 16 extra base damage to all your allies around you. As well as it gives strength and some cooldowns. It's very good. The Quake Blade does give hit chance as well as collision chance. So they have their pros and cons. So that should pretty much cover it for the tanks. So now for the healer, we have the Con wand and we have the Arc of Lunar Radiance. The Con wand, just such a beautiful wand. So basically 12 wisdom, 8 perception, over 19% mana cost efficiency, so our spells cost 19% less. Another thing is the passive. So basically, whenever you use Invincible Wand, that's the one where you can do a shield. You can either do a single target shield, or preferably if you're running this one, you do the AoE shield, to where it does less effect, but it affects everybody. And the thing about this is that for the longest time, I thought it was attached to your shield. So if you had the shield on you, you had the buff, and as soon as the shield breaks, you lose the buff. No. So what happens is, as long as they get the shield, they get a unique buff that lasts for like 10 seconds with all the buff duration I have. So basically, let's say I put a shield on a teammate and it breaks like literally half a second later. He still has that buff of taking 5% less damage and receiving 10% extra healing. The other one people might argue is the Overture wand. Honestly, it's not that great of a wand. Just do the Con wand. Like you do less healing, your low roll and high roll is less. Plus, you get strength, which is okay, but you get weakened chance. You don't need weakened chance. You need mana cost efficiency. Plus, Clay Salvation isn't up as much and it isn't as prevalent to get a hot from that. You have so many other hots. You have the Fountain of Life, Heal on the Ground. You have Healing Touches with Nature's Blessing with Vigorous, Flash. You see, there's so many ways to get other hots. And for the bow, this is the best bow in the game, honestly, is the Arc of Lunar Radiance. So basically, whenever you use Nature's Blessing, whenever you affect yourself and up to any allies you hit, from your group, so you can have up to 6 people, including yourself, you can get up to 36% attack speed. So very good. 11 perception. I mean, the perception on the healer is really good because we're running 4-piece Vanguard. Surprise, surprise. 2-piece Vanguards for every 10 perception we get 45 up every endurance. So this is basically guaranteeing that we're getting 45 extra endurance. Strength's always good, more max health, as well as 14% extra range. Really good for getting those heals out. And for the gear, we are running 4-piece Vanguard. I mean, this is just bloated. It gives you fortitude, the only set pieces in the game, the only armor piece that gives fortitude. So we're going helm, chest, legs, and feet. So the 2-piece, for every 10 points of perception, we get 45 of each endurance, dropping the chance that we might get crit, or if we have more endurance than they have crit, we're basically making them do the lowest possible damage they can do. And when fortitude is over 50, so this does say over 50, it can be at 50 straight up. If you're at 50, you still practice. Main weapon base damage is plus 30. So we just get 30 extra base damage. You might be saying, well, what does main damage mean? Yeah, when I go over the wand, it just shows 1 max damage. Same thing with the bow. But if I were to go over to daggers, as you can see here, max has 2 max damages, one on top and one on the bottom. The top one is your main hand, and the bottom is your offhand. So whenever you do damage with the dagger ability, you have a chance to offhand to basically double hit. So if I do use Brutal Incision, the pseudo execute of daggers, I hit you with the ability, and then I also have a chance to just do the ability again. Like, it just automatically does it for either more or reduced damage, depending on the offhand damage. And so whenever I do that, let's say I do use Brutal Incision, that first hit's going to proc my Vanguard. But that second hit that procs, it's not going to proc the Vanguard extra bonus damage, or base damage. That would really matter a lot, especially for crossbows, because crossbows the same way. These would be running amok, honestly. Crossbows have very low damage because they rapid fire very quickly. And now for the cloak. You could run the Blessed Templar cloak. This is a T1 version. Might be hard, but this is honestly one of the best cloaks. It can give you the most collision resist you want, especially when you're building PvP. You really want that. But honestly, any cloak can really doesn't really matter. The Noble's Mantle is actually a really good cloak. I probably would be running that. Easy to get your hands on this, to be honest. And for the necklace, we're going to be going to the Primal Ritual Collar. This is a very solid necklace. 4 wisdom strength, as well as cooldown speed, and we can put max health on it, as well as mana regen, what we need on a healer. Bangle the Clear Snipe, Perception 6, we need that for that extra Vanguard procs. Max health, always nice to have, as well as 210 magic endurance and 190 range endurance, just making this more tanky, especially against magic. Main thing is we're getting magic endurance on top of it. And for the rings, we're going to be going is the Enchanted Silking Sun Signet. If you don't have the enchanted version, you can just use the base default version, which is it doesn't matter which one you run. The only thing you're losing out is 2% extra range, which honestly isn't the end of the world. For the other ring we're going is the Black Anvil ring. 4 wisdom, perception, as well as strength. I mean, that's basically what you want on a healer. That wisdom is really nice, perception as well as we get over 100 heavy attack. And we're going to be running the Fortified Cunning Ogre Girdle. If you don't have that, you can just run the default Cunning Ogre Girdle. I mean, all we lose out is 1 wisdom, not the end of the world. And for the earrings, we're going to be going the Brilliant Regal earrings. I mean, just very easy to get. Like I said earlier, the better ones would be the Granite, but honestly, for healing, it doesn't really make a difference. As long as we're getting that front damage reduction and wisdom, that's all that matters. That should pretty much cover for the healer, for the gear. So now for the range damage and melee DPS, we're going to be going over them differently. We're not going to be showing the weapons themselves. You should pretty much just slot on whatever weapons you want here. So if you're ranged, like if you're longbow and liberator, I guess mainly is the liberator, longbow and staff. You could even maybe put Invocator here just to be universal, just in case you don't know what to run. While we do have an Invocator itself down here. We'll go over that in a little bit. So let's go over the range damage, which is the best range damage, like ranged weapon. Is the Tevin bow, but that's an arc boss bow, but it's pretty cheap now, like 5-6k. Some people that's a lot. It's not too expensive at the grand scheme of things. These things used to go for over 100,000 Lucent easily. Used to. For the crossbows, the best one you're going to be running is the Achman, completely broken, especially for PvP, but in PvE, you can run that, or maybe the Queen crossbows. I don't know if these are going to be outclassed with T3 though. So when in doubt, just go Achman out. For the wand, for the damage, the main one you want to be going for is obviously the Tevin wand, but that's an arc boss weapon. So the main one we're going to be going for is the Deckman wand, or you could go the Codex wand. The staff, the best staff for PvE is going to be the Foki staff. Honestly the best, or you can go Daigons. Either one is fine. If you have your hands on the Daigon, keep it. You can run this in PvP as well as PvE, and you can feed this into your legendary or your heroic staff once you get that, if you want to so choose. Now for melee weapons, so sword board, you're not gonna be doing damage with that, so it doesn't matter. For the sword board, the main one we're gonna be going for is the Naru's Quakeblade or the Naru's Greatsword. This is honestly the better greatsword for PvE, but you can definitely PvE with the Immortal Quakeblade, or you can do the Cordy if you can get your hands on that. For daggers, it's either going to be the Recon daggers or Leviathan. It's up to you. I think Leviathan's is better. I could be wrong, but I haven't got my hands on Leviathan daggers, so I really can't comment too much on that. And for the spear, the Crimson Hell Skewer spear is the best spear to get. Like, this is the best PvE DPS spear. Honestly, one of the higher DPS spears that isn't an arc boss weapon. All right, so for the first 2-piece, we're going to be going 2-piece Spectral. So basically what this does for the range DPS is at all times you get 15% extra critical damage, which is amazing. As well as if there are no enemies within 5 meters, an additional 10%. So if there are no enemies within 5 meters of us, we get 25% extra critical damage. If we have an enemy within 5 meters, we only get 15%, which is already better, 1% better than Shadow Harvester. So we're going to be going the Helm and the Feet. So the Helm, Dexterity 7, as well as some cooldown. That's very nice. As well as we can put mana cost efficiency and more cooldown on the helmet. The Feet gives us Dexterity, as well as heavy attack chance. The rest doesn't really matter. It's a very powerful 2-piece, honestly, because for T2, the only other crit ones that I could think of, especially for ranged, is the Transcendence. But you need 4 pieces of Transcendence. As well as Transcendence, it goes up to 40%. Now you might be saying 40%, that's good. The 2-piece though, critical hit chance, it's not that great. I'd rather run 2-piece Void Stalker on top of my 2-piece Spectral, because it increases our max damage by 3. Going to chest and hands. The chest piece, 6 dexterity, 5 strength, as well as some crit. Very nice. The gloves are very good. 6 dex, range on top of more attack speed, and you can put more attack speed on them. And lastly, for the legs, we're going Imperial Seeker legs. Just very simple, 1 piece. Why not if we have it? 4 dexterity, 6 wisdom. The rest doesn't matter. As well as you can put some buff duration on these legs, which is pretty cool. Almost forgot the cloak. So for the cloak, I'm actually running a T1 cloak. It's going to be the Eldritch Whispers cloak. This is honestly a very good cloak. The T2 cloaks really don't add much damage. Most people say to run the Howling Wind Shroud because it gives you attack speed, which it does give us 0.7 more attack speed. However, we get 10 extra bonus damage from the Eldritch Whispers, which is pretty good. It's overall more damage, and honestly could out DPS depending on your class. And also it's a T1, so it's very easy to get. For the necklace, we are running the Draconic Gorget. You can either run the enchanted or the non-enchanted version. Honestly, it does not make a difference. You only lose 2% mana cost efficiency. Not the end of the world. You will hardly notice it. Same thing with the next one, Imbued Bracelet of the Violent Undertow. You can run the imbued version or you can run the default version. You would never notice the difference because the only difference, if I can find them, you only lose out on 3 bonus damage. That is nowhere near. Like if it was an attribute, maybe, but just 3 bonus damage, not the end of the world. For the rings, we are going to be running is the Black Anvil ring. Very easy to get. It's also very universal. Gives us all a bunch of stats as well as heavy attack chance. And the Ring of Eternal Flames. This is just so stat dense. Gives us perception, dex, and strength as well as some critical hit. It's just easy to get. There are better rings out there, but this is just a very easy to get ring. For the belt we are running is the Imbued Heroes Legacy War Belt. You can either run the imbued version or you can run the default version. It does not matter. You only lose on 1 dex, which it could make a difference, but honestly, not really. And for the earrings, we're actually running the Brilliant Regal earring. This is the one that gives wisdom, because wisdom is actually a little bit better in my opinion, especially when you get stacked so much. It gives you cooldown as well as some high roll and some max mana and mana regen. Why would you say no to that? For the melee DPS, if you are wondering the talk, I did go over the talk more of the jewelry and the 2-piece void on the ranged DPS, so you can just go back to that and I'll give you more of an info on those. But for the most part, we are running is 2-piece void stalker, chest and hands, and we are running 1-piece Oblivion's Wrath. It's very good, 5 dex as well as 5 strength as well as some cooldown, and you can further put cooldown and max health on it. And for the other 2-piece, we are running 2-piece Imperial Seeker. So this 2-piece, critical damage plus 15 at all times. And on each melee critical hit, critical damage increases by 1% up to 10 stacks. We can get up to 25% extra critical damage. Just overall, very, very good. I mean, these are very stat dense. Gives us a lot, like 8 attributes as well as some crit. These are some of the best pair of boots for PvP right now. But whew, I think that should be pretty much it. I know we didn't go over too much of the T2 gear because by then you should already know how to get it. And we quickly just went over what makes it really good. This is more for PvE though, so take what I say with a grain of salt. There might be better ways to build it, but the main thing I went for is ease of access. A lot of this gear is easily acquirable. You're not really going to cough up much. The only thing that might be coughing up much is the Spectral 2-piece, but that's just the nature of Spectral. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. I know we didn't go over the skills or masteries. That's for you guys to experiment and look at other builds, but this is just simple, the gear, what to look out for. Because the skills for the most part are the same, but the gear kind of change. We'll definitely be updating this when T3 drops, and we'll get more info, and I'll give you how it's going to be at the beginning, towards the end of T3, because a lot of things will be expensive at the beginning, and then towards the end they drop, because there were certain gear these boots, of Imperial Seeker used to go for tens of thousands of Lucent. Same thing with the Spectral Overseer's Mask. This thing went for 20,000 Lucent when it first dropped. So prices do go down eventually, so just look out for that. But I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did learn anything or, found anything helpful or, you were just entertained, please like the video, comment down below what I can help you out with more or what I missed out or, any questions you have. Subscribe for more because we're going to be going over a lot more in the near future, especially when T3 drops. Can't wait for the BGs. I can't wait for the new dungeons and I can't wait for the new trials. It's going to be a lot added as well as housing too. There's just so much being added. It's going to be great. But cool beans, stay Zergy, but most importantly, guys, take care, guys.